I'm Donny.
And I'm Anthony.
And we make up the GW Branding Group, here to bring you the Off the Ground podcast. The podcast where we interview entrepreneurs and find out how they got their businesses off the ground.
Hey, this is Anthony with the Off the Ground podcast. I am here with my co-host, Donny Wells. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk to you guys about search engine optimization, and we're going to go over the most essential SEO topics that we think you should use for your business. So, Off the Ground podcast is typically about bringing on successful business entrepreneurs, owners, and letting them give their story on how they got their business off the ground. But today we really wanted to focus on these SEO topics because it's something that's been brought up quite a lot. And we'll let Donny kick right into it.
Yeah, so as an agency, that's been our main focus. We design websites, and specifically we design them to be perfect for Google's ever-changing SEO criteria. And SEO, for anyone who doesn't know, is search engine optimization. We just wanted to provide some insights on what are the most important strategies and some of the tips and tricks to get found on Google, and that's really what search engine optimization is. Google's the main one, but they set the standard for the other engines, search engines as well. I'd like to, that's an intro to SEO, but what about that makes it so crucial for online success?
Yeah, definitely. I would say it's understanding that your most relevant clients are also searching for, their answers on Google. And, the whole goal of SEO is to be able to come up on top of Google's search rankings. They're called SERPs, search engine result pages. And, that's the goal. The goal is to outrank your competition, to stay top of mind, and to get leads. And that really comes from organic traffic and also a little bit from, paid advertising. But the organic traffic with SEO is really what is going to fuel your business in the long run. It's not a short-term strategy. It's something that you need to be focusing on for years and building out a library of relevant data that people are going to find. And, then from there, Google will look at you as a thought expert. So, Donny, I wanted to ask, what are the highest SEO impacts on websites for organic visibility? There's on-page SEO, there's off-page SEO. Why don't you kind of give us a breakdown of what those are?
Yeah, so we take a look at websites a lot for clients that are potential clients that are, I call it a postcard website. You can show somebody this website that they have, and it might look really great. Maybe they paid a lot to have it done. But really the bones aren't there for SEO and for the criteria that Google has. And that is all in the category that you just mentioned, on-page SEO. And there's a lot of factors that go into it that surprise a lot of people. Number one, probably one of the highest impacts on Google is a word count. So that's the first error we look at, is a low word count. So for so many websites, they might look really neat and tidy and pretty, but there's only 100 words on the page. And the recommendation is at least 500 to 1,000 words. That gives you opportunities to inlay exactly what you do, because Google's reading all these words. So it gives you an opportunity to tell you why you're better than other people, what kind of experience and authority and trust. We talk about EAT, experience, authority, and trust. And then, you want that in order to be able to portray what you have, but also it gives you an opportunity to put keywords in there that Google is searching for. 500 to 1,000 is just the beginning. I think, Anthony and I, we were just looking into it the other day, and oftentimes the top search result has 3,000 to 6,000 words on it. So, it's really an opportunity to tell Google exactly what you have on your page, what your business has to offer.
Definitely. And then when it comes to off-page SEO, that's more so with your backlink structures. And I always like to say we work a lot with general contractors and construction companies. And we always say that a backlink is basically a back avenue to your website. So, imagine you're building a brick and mortar business, and your brick and mortar business is built off of a main road. Well, not everyone's going to be able to get onto that main road and get to your business. There's a lot of back roads that people like to take. So a backlink is essentially a back road to your business, and one of the reasons why it's a key piece of SEO is because it's going to help Google's algorithm establish trust within your website, because you're going to be ranking and ranking online, and each ranking that you have, you'll have Google will look for your backlinks. And where are those pointed to? Are they pointed to other community members' websites? That's the trust factor. Are they pointed to internal links that are going to link structure from one page to the next page? And really, that whole backlink structure is a crucial piece to SEO, because Google's always looking at those.
Too.
Yeah.
These are roads going back and forth. These are links that are connecting different web pages. And so a website is not a static thing. It's a living organism in a lot of ways, right? And so Google is constantly re-ranking you and reassessing what your authority is. And some of the most powerful backlinks are links from your content that are being used as an answer or as a resource from another high authority page. So if there are other, so one of the things we do for companies is a link building, process, and that what's involved in that is taking a look at what content that you have, or starting by creating content, educational or humorous, or other content that people would be interested in reading, and then doing a reverse search to find out, what answers that. What answers that's providing for the questions that people are looking up. So then you're going to go after those keywords by then reaching out to those articles and trying to be the link that they're using to answer their questions, if that makes sense. So that's one of the things that can then help. Once you see that the New York Times has used your website as a backlink, then Google sees that and that's a high authority site, so you must be a high authority site too. And it constantly is marking you up the pegs of the search results for that reason.
Definitely. And that's a long-term strategy, like we said, but I want to go back into on-page optimization and really talk about the strategies that we use every day in on-page optimization when it comes to SEO, what it really is, and how you can use it as a tool for your business. So, Donnie, what are the typical things when we're running SEO audits? We typically look for a few things. Those are the H1 headings, your title tags, your meta descriptions, and your image content within the website. So, Donnie, how about you dive into those crucial pieces there?
Yeah. So, title tags and meta descriptions is a big piece, and that's essentially when you're looking at a Google search. So you look up house plant on Google or something, and then you've got a certain amount of blue links, and they're followed by gray text. What the blue link actually says is the title tag of the web page, because that is associated with a page, and then also the meta description underneath, which is going to be that gray text that is more of a summary. The title tag kind of gets your attention, what is it, and the gray underneath gives you a little more in depth.
Yep.
If you don't decide what those are for a page, because you can go in there and you can change it as long as you have the software to work on it, but you can go in there and change it. But if you don't, Google's just going to pull what it thinks, and it's going to grab a piece of text. So it could be any random text. So many times we see these title tags and meta descriptions, whether they're the same for every page on the website, so Google has no idea which page to rank for what, and it assesses it as a group, which is not a good thing. You want to be found for many different keywords. So if your whole site is only being ranked for a couple keywords because it's all ranked together, that's a bad thing. So you want unique meta descriptions and title tags, but you want them to be descriptive and concise too.
Yeah. Also, having calls to action as your meta description, giving them an opening hook to make people more likely to click into your link.
In the service industry, so much of it is, if those meta descriptions don't make any sense, you're not going to get any traction. But what you can do is you can say, what it is. So if you're a carpet cleaner, for example, you can say, call Donny and Anthony's carpet cleaning company today, and then that call to action could be the meta description, which is receive a free consultation for a 15-minute call or something like that. So you can have that call to action in there, or for this month only, we're doing 10% off, so come on in. And those are great ways to keep your SEO thriving, to get ranked for more keywords, to be actually a much more attractive link to click on Google.
Definitely. And then let's talk about H1 headings, because I think people overlook the fact that you need to create web pages based off of search queries that people are looking on Google. So an H1 heading is the structure of your top web page's title, and it is also going to be the key piece of data when Google crawls your website to see what is this page about. So, Donnie, what do you typically see with an H1 heading versus what we come in and start to restructure them as?
Well, really, where the big issue comes in with a lot of sites is they have or they have only H1 headings, and they don't break it up into H1, H2, H3 in paragraphs. So you need to designate a font size and a position for those different headings, and then there are subcategories within the site. So your actual content needs to be housed within the H3, and then your subheadings need to be H2, and then your titles need to be H1. H1 is essentially what it is, and then you further break down into more keywords that you want to rank for. But finding the right way to interlay the different information, that's essentially what that body structure is on the site, and it takes just a little more attention to detail and just breaking it up that way. And again, so many of these sites that I kind of call the postcard sites, they don't break it down that way, and they don't have any distinction between the different structures in the page.
Definitely. And when it comes to content, that's another huge piece on your website when Google is looking to rank you. What kind of content do you have on your website? Do you have backlinks to YouTube? Are you using your media to your advantage? And if not, and you're just putting random images on your website, then that might be an issue, because Google also looks at the title of the image. So a lot of things that Donnie and I do when we're building out blogs is we use specific image titles, and that way when you do a Google image search and you click onto that image, it'll bring up a link typically to a blog or somewhere where that image is held. So
yeah, that's an effort that we've had a lot of success in, is just naming those images for other search queries too that are associated with the blogs. Then you're becoming not only a search result on Google for just all, but you're also then on Google for images as well.
Yeah. Let's dive into the different tools you can use for SEO. There's a lot of them, varying expenses. Some of them are $100 a month. Some of them are thousands of dollars a month. And I think the tools are going to be an important piece of understanding your SEO strategy and where your site ranks, as well as tracking that site to make sure that you're actually in competition with the people you think you are from an online perspective. So, typically we use Ubersuggest from Neil Patel. It's a very great platform, but there are so many. Donnie, do you want to kind of break down what we use these for?
Well, yeah, we're loyal a little bit to Ubersuggest because we've learned so much from Neil Patel and his content, and he puts out an email newsletter, and a lot of emails I that are automated or often I kind of let go, but he's constantly giving tips, and again, SEO and Google search results is something that's constantly changing. So nobody really has time to make it their business unless you're like us and we made a business around it. But we make it our business to keep up with that stuff, and so does Neil. So that's great. But with that Ubersuggest, and there's a few others that are really good too, SEMrush and
Moz Keyword
Yep,
Tool,
yep.
Yoast for WordPress, things like that.
But what we do with that is we're able to pull a lot of content off the website. So we're able to see a very accurate estimate of how many clicks they're getting and what search queries they're being ranked for. So what it looks like when you pull one of these keyword reports is these are the 10 keywords you're currently ranking for, and here's your position in it too. It might be 10th, it might be 13th, it might be 25th, right? What you want to see is 1 through 5, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you're ranked 15th for the name of your company, then you're really doing something wrong. But we're able to see that, and we're able to see exactly how many search queries that's getting each month too. So if the keyword is, we just use carpet cleaner for example, so I'll use it again, but if the keyword is carpet cleaner near me and you're ranked 25th for it, you're also able to see what that difficulty is to rank for that, and you're also able to see exactly how many people are searching that a month. So that's search volume. So what you want to do is find that balance in your keyword research for, what's the highest volume and the lowest difficulty, right? I mean, it's not usually going to be the same keyword, but you want to find one in the middle where you think that you can make the biggest gains in the shortest amount of time. Yeah. And then, you've got some white whales too. But that's the thing with keyword research and with picking which keywords you're going to go with. It's an intense strategy session to try and figure out Long term, I want to be the one to be at the top of the list for carpet cleaners, right? But that's got to be the hardest one in that industry with the most search results.
Yeah.
But, a lot of people are paying to get there, and then a lot of people have been working on it for 5, 10, 20 years now. So, that it's a little bit of it's an even longer term strategy to go for those short tail keywords.
Yeah, and typically what we do is we start with the long-term keywords, the long-tail keywords that people are going to be able to rank for quite easily. Maybe they might not be the number one search query, but they do have a higher buyer intent when people are searching for that. So for an example, if somebody searches general contractor near me, most likely you're going to get a list of general contractors. But let's say you had a specific question about general contracting. What is the best general contractor for updating my flooring and kitchen cabinets, right? Well, the goal is to have that content based on those search queries so that you as a general contractor can pop up based off of that search query, and it might be a little bit easier to rank for that, and the buyer might have more intent to hire you, but you're not going to get as much traffic off of those keywords. So you start slow and you stack that on until you can start to rank for those higher ranking keywords. Now there's also a Google cross strategy for Google advertising. We like to do a cross channel PPC advertising strategy where we can start to advertise for the keywords that are maybe a little bit difficult to rank for.
Organically.
And you can pay Google to get these keyword rankings closer to the top. Now, we always say when it comes to keyword rankings, if somebody's telling you they're going to rank you number one, run in the opposite direction, because the competition is always changing, the rankings are always changing, and that's something you have to be working on constantly.
Google uses something called crawlers. They're essentially little bots that go through and just click every single link on the internet, and then every page they get to, they read the whole thing. And that's when they check out the H1, H2, H3 structure. They look for keywords. They decide what your meta description is going to be. But there's no set timing for that, so it's constantly recrawling here and there. But your website might only get crawled twice a year just by the organic bots, or even less if you have a low SEO effort. So one of the things that Anthony and I do is every time we make a significant change on a website, we have the tools to resubmit the sitemap to Google, which triggers an audit from their crawlers, and so they give it that re-rank right away. And that is something that we see. Some people don't even do that, and when you do those SEO changes, you really want that to be recognized by Google right away.
Yeah, and that's through Google Search Console, which is ultimately where you can update your sitemap to Google, send it out to them, and that's when they'll be able to re-rank your site, crawl it, and give you the feedback that you need to fix broken links. So that's another huge tool that we use quite often.
I wanted to speak to something that you hit on before when you were talking about the cross-channel SEO strategies with the PPC budgets. Yeah, so at the end of the day, for a business focusing on their SEO, you've got two main goals. One would be to drum up new leads, and that's specifically for service-based industries, right? You're trying to drum up new leads for the right kind of client. Or two, if you have e-commerce or if you're selling something, you want to get more eyeballs on that product and then hope they go through. So you're either generating traffic or you're generating leads, and that the keyword optimization for that, a lot of times with that service industry stuff, you want to go for those long tail keywords, because even though you might have 1/5 of the traffic, so many more of those are going to be good leads. Like you said, they're going to be a higher caliber of lead. Like if you're answering a question, if you're a contractor that does kitchens, and the questions people are asking when they're really thinking about it are, how much will it increase the value of my home to update the kitchen? Or do I need to update, or do I need to redo my kitchen? And so then you're putting out content to answer those questions. Content that it might be a blog post that's 5,000 or 10,000 words long, but you're answering all those questions in there, and you're getting it spread out everywhere, and you're referencing other sites, and you're building out this structure where now if somebody says, how much in Hoffman Estates will it increase the value of my house to update my kitchen, you might have the very perfect thing for someone in Hoffman Estates if you're a contractor that works there. And so, then you are going to get a much more likely client out of that, as opposed to just any old person that, wants a new countertop or something. You'd rather redo their whole kitchen, right?
Yeah.
You'd rather give them all that. And so, finding the right leads. So that's for the service industry too. But when it comes to products and e-commerce, it's almost an entirely different strategy. You still want to go on long tail keywords, but it's less of those questions. You're just going to be a lot more descriptive and a lot more exhaustive. But again, then it comes down to finding the right balance between having a really cluttered page with all kinds of words on it, and having a clean and neat website that's easy to push through to the end, which is buying something.
Yeah, definitely. Donnie's does really well with the e-commerce. He handles a lot of the e-commerce portion of our business. But one of the things that Donnie's actually taught me is when it comes to SEO for products, it's really about the product description. And as he said, it's about making the page look right. That's the on-page optimization portion of SEO, and a lot of that also has to do with mobile website design. So making sure that your site is mobilely optimized. Mm-hmm. About 75 to 90% of search traffic is going to be people on their phone. So you want to make sure that not only is your website optimized for the desktop and for laptops, but for tablets and for mobile devices as well. A lot of times we see that your mobile site won't transfer and looks a little bit off. So that is what increases bounce rates, which are when it's a bounce rate is when somebody comes to your site and immediately they leave due to an issue, whether that's
it takes too long to load,
long time loading speed, not mobilely optimized, it's too hard to navigate. And that's also part of the technical SEO strategy there is finding out what pieces of that technical website portion need to be fixed. But I wanted to jump into something that we deal with often, and that's local SEO strategies. And when it comes to local SEO, whether you're a service-based business or a brick-and-mortar store, there are going to be a couple different options that you have. And I wanted to jump into that. Donnie, what are your thoughts with that? I know we want to kind of go over Google My Business Profile, Google Local Guaranteed, and a couple other local strategies that could really help your business.
Yeah, well, I'll let you hit on some of those, but I do want to talk about the Google Business Profile. That was one of the first SEO changes in momentum was early on with SEO. If you had a good Google Business Profile, you were sort of the king. Now, there's a lot of competition. So you search for food or something now, you've got so many restaurants, so you got to filter through them. But that's often the first thing that people see even before they get to your website. So you have an opportunity there to build trust, to come off as a great local place to go to. So you want 4.5 to 5 stars. You want lots of reviews, not just 1 or 2 or 3. You want to have a lot of reviews where people are really talking about the positive elements of having worked with you or having patronized your business, and you want pictures. So but again, you want that all to be accurate. And ideally what you want is to be the one profile that pulls up when somebody searches your business or something similar, because then you take up it's similar to rich results really, but where when somebody Googles something, you come up way bigger than just the line by line item, so people don't even have to read, they just see, oh gosh, yeah, 5 stars and so-and-so's auto shop or something like that. So then you've got pictures, you've got 5 stars, you've got a description, you've got a location. So optimizing that Google Business Profile, I mean, really, it can speak volumes to the kind of business that you are, and It gives you an opportunity to put your brand out there really first thing. But yeah, you want to talk about some of the challenges that people have with the Google Business Profile?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think that a lot of times people are afraid to start asking for reviews, and if they don't get a 5-star review, they think it's the end of the world. And honestly, that's just not true. Obviously, you want to have between a 4 and 5-star review, but Google's going to look at your reviews and say, okay, if every single review that they have is 5 stars, then there must be something going on. It could be, not to say a scam, but these could be fake reviews. And so having a little bit of, not so bright reviews is a good chance for you to go to your Google Business Profile, respond to that customer, and show that your customer support is on par with your brand. And
I think
that
I think in e-commerce, sorry to cut in,
Yeah.
the ideal review is 4.6 stars, because I think actually not just Google, but buyers, they're skeptical of all 5-star reviews. If you've got 600 5-star reviews, did this guy have bots do it, or are they fake reviews or whatever? So again, for customers to see that you are real and humans still on the other side of things, it's not the end of the world to have bad reviews, as long as they're mostly good.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and there are different Google review opportunities. You don't just have to build out a Google Business Profile. If you're looking to build a platform of reviews, there's also tools like we were talking with a medical group, and they use Trustpilot, and Trustpilot is a great tool to use for reviews. If you're looking to have people leave anonymous reviews, maybe they don't want their name and profile in there, but they still need a way to say, hey, this is a trustworthy brand here. So Trustpilot is a great review tool for people to use. And on top of that, when working with like the service-based industry, and specifically trades and home services, there are going to be a lot of different options for you to do advertising on. And typically when we look at doing advertising, it's more so about how many leads and qualified leads are we going to be able to get you to close on your deal and expand on your revenue. I mean, that's the main goal here. So
then you got to assess, what are you willing to pay per lead, right?
And that PPC strategy can get very confusing. You'd have to hire PPC professionals or bring somebody in-house, or either spend the time to learn the platform. But Google has recently come out with a new platform called the Google Guaranteed Program. Some people know it as Google Local Service Ads, and that is a great way to get your business at the top of the search rankings with a green check mark, because Google's done a background check on you. They've done a review on you, and it's a great way to pay by call rather than pay per click. And when you pay by call, you can actually dispute the bad calls and the bad leads. Let's say somebody contacts you and say, oh, can you sponsor my business? Well, that's not really a lead. That's somebody who just clicked that. So, where from a PPC perspective, you're still getting charged for those clicks, you can dispute that call and you can make your money back. And we've put our clients on there, and typically we see they get about 4 to 6 qualified leads per week, and that has done wonders for them. Typically they say, well, I was only getting maybe 6 calls a month, and now I'm getting 6 calls a week. And the amount of leads that have come across their desk, and even if they don't land those projects, but the opportunity to bid on those projects is going to increase. You might have $800,000 worth of project opportunities. And if you can increase your lead volume, maybe you have $2 million worth of lead project opportunities.
And it's really a great extension on the SEO efforts that you've already put into place and the website that you're proud of. If you put a bunch of ads out there and then you are driving people to a website that is hard to use, or that doesn't have a call to action, or that doesn't have any helpful content, there's no trust factors there, then it's really useless. But if you are using it as an extension of this organic search results that you are already building in this organically strong website, then you start to turn on some of those paid things, and Google Local Service Ads are awesome. So we really can generate a lot with those. If those trust factors are already in place, then we can really we can turn up the heat really quick with those, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of success with that.
Yeah, I want to jump into another local service topic. We actually just got a call today or last night from a larger tree service, and they had a question about, how come their Google Business Profile isn't popping up when they search, tree services in this local neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Part of the reason that could be an issue for you is because you haven't set your Google Business Profile to a physical address. You may just have a service area. So if you're trying to get listed on Google Maps, it's definitely a good idea to have a physical address. I don't think they accept P.O. boxes, but a physical address, here's where my business is located, so somebody can search that and it'll come up on the Google Maps. Because a lot of the issues that people have is if they have a service area, there's no set business location to pop up on the map. So that's something that is a big issue.
We understand the desire to only put a service area because you don't want to limit somebody to a neighborhood, right? But being specific with Google never hurts. And it can give you the best business because it's right down your block, hopefully. But also, you have the opportunity to focus on different locations too. So if you're in, if you're based in Aurora, but you want to service all of Kane County, you still want to put that you're in Aurora and you have a physical location. But then we're going to be putting out blog content. We're going to be putting out web pages.
Landing
pages, right? Like, I build decks in Kane County, so then we're going to be doing landing pages for that. We're going to be doing content around that, and it's okay. We're going to do it now for McHenry County too, if we want to go further, north or something. But you start small, and again, this is another SEO concept for that. That's tough even for us to adhere to because we want to be ranking for everything possible, but you can't be the best in the nation or in the world. If you're a tree service guy, you can't be the best tree service guy ranked by all of Google for the entire world, but you might be able to be, on Smith Avenue or something, or you might be able to be in your town of Rolling Meadows or wherever you are. And then, as you build out those areas, you are, creating a service area, if you will, where you're now dominant in that space for search results.
Yeah, that's so true. And, that's the name of the game. It's how do we increase your revenue? How do we increase the search volume, increase the traffic? And if you're not doing it organically, then you're going to have to be doing it paid. And a lot of people come to us and they ask, well, I had this website built, but it's not doing anything. I don't get any leads. What's going on? What happens? And that's where we can jump in and offer you an SEO audit for your website, track your rankings, see where you're actually at versus your competition, then give you a strategy to move forward. It's not going to be the easiest thing in the world, but it's not rocket science either. These are technical details that you could implement piece by piece, and as you move on through your business, they will actually help you increase that ranking and build out the trust factor that your brand needs. So that is a crucial piece. Now, I kind of wanted to jump back into the mobile optimization, whether it's through tablets, whether it's through your mobile app, and then also like your site, your website structure, because that's a big piece. We oftentimes see that the structure of the website is not built to be the most optimized for your navigation. And that is a huge piece. So Donny, how about we just kind of go into how you want to structure your website based on your services or based on your products, or even if you're a professional and you just need a professional landing page, how you want to structure that out?
Well, that's a lot of different topics all wrapped into one.
Yeah.
But ideally, in what you want to start with, and this is our process, is we start with the customer journey. And so when somebody reaches your website and whatever landing page they reach, how do we get them from there to our call to action or a sale, or whether it's a free strategy call or whether it's a site consultation or a free estimate? You want to decide all those things and have one clear message for everybody. And so wherever they're drawn in, if it's a piece of content that is answering a question to them, you want to have a mark on that page that says, call now for your estimate, or schedule a time right now and we'll come out and see your project. Or you want to lead them through the services so they have a better idea of what you do. But that's all into going into sitemap, and Anthony's an expert at setting up a sitemap. But again, that's like, no matter where they come in, you've got a funnel here, and no matter where they come in, you want them to go to the next level, which is, that
buy-in, that call-in.
That buy-in, exactly. So that call to action, and then you want to go to the strategy, and then you want to go to a sale. So again, the first part is we're casting a wide net, but we're trying to move people through, or we're trying to make it as easy as possible. We're trying to make this funnel as wide as possible until it gets to the sale.
Yeah, and it's all about finding who's the most relevant customer for you. Not every customer is going to be your best customer, but we have to make sure that we're moving in a direction where you're getting these qualified leads and not having, you're always going to have a random amount of leads, and they might be random things, but to move the needle and get more qualified leads is definitely how that sitemap will take place and help with the structure.
Not everybody keeps track of this information either, but one of the easiest places to start with deciding who your best customer is, your ideal customer profile or demographic, is to keep track of sort of hits and misses. If you're a service-based company, not every job is going to make you the same margin. It's not going to make you the same money. So if you just categorize it in an Excel spreadsheet or something like that where, okay, these are the jobs and these are the individuals that made me the most money. These jobs I broke even or a little better, and then these jobs I lost money or it really wasn't worth it for my time. You want to stay away from customers like this in terms of advertising spend and money spent. We don't want anybody to waste money on marketing or SEO. We want you to be focused on exactly what is making you the most money. So we're going to take all these green zone people and say, where do they live? What do they do? How old are they? And we start to build a profile for our ideal customer, and that can even influence, what pages we're building on the site or where we're trying to enter them into the site through to get them to the end game. But that is, having those hits and misses is something that we encourage everybody to just take a look at. Even before we get started with strategy, take a look at your previous jobs and which ones were a success and why.
Yeah, definitely. And that could be through a number of things. You might need to update your CRM. You might need to do a better job of keeping track of those clients and those projects. But those are all things that we're here to help figure out. We're here to help do that, which brings me to a really relevant thing that I like to talk about, which is ethical marketing, and the fact that we have a duty to make sure that you are not spending all of your money in the wrong places. So when I say ethical marketing, what I really mean is making sure that you're finding a company that's going to be upfront with you. They're going to be truthful with you. They're not going to be giving out, all these really crazy offerings that might not sound realistic and then pulling back on them. Finding a business that's going to say, hey, here's where you're at. Here's what it's going to take to get you to the next level. And we operate off of, these ethical guidelines. So I think that's something that we oftentimes see is companies will try and hire these SEO agencies or, these website companies, and they offer them a really cheap service, and it either does nothing for them or they get a little bit of traction, and then it all just kind of falls apart. So Donny, what are the options that you see when it comes to an SEO plan and just getting on to a plan and working through that?
There's you mentioned too good to be true, and that's going on. This subscription model has changed the way people think about things. Like, I should be able to subscribe to SEO for $500 a month or something. And really, again, this business model really precipitated us going into business is because we saw a lot of that, and we worked for companies and with companies that either were doing that or were hiring somebody that were doing that, was doing that, and they are getting nothing done, because it's not enough time, it's not enough manpower, it's not enough, focus and attention to detail, and they're not upfront about what they do. They will offer the world and kind of pull it back. But that's why we opened the business that we did, GW Branding Group, because we want people to have a good experience with marketing where we can come in with all the expertise and all the know-how that we have acquired and continue to learn, and address the issues right away and create a custom strategy. There really is no one-size-fits-all. We've talked about different business models, different business types. We have an ideal customer of what we think is our best customer, but we are able to handcraft a digital strategy for anybody who comes to us. And if not, then we're not going to take your business and do a bad job with it. We'd rather have somebody else that can do a better job do it. But again, that's something that I really we've strived for as long as we've been in business together, and I have no intention of stopping that. I mean, I really think that there's so many bad experiences with marketing and with SEO out there. We want to guard against that. We are upfront about how we spend our time if it's dedicated to your company. We are upfront about what deliverables we're going to do, and we price accordingly. We really, it's not necessarily cheap, but I think that what you get out of it, I know that what you get out of it from our customers, I mean, we haven't had a miss, really. We really only go into business where it's a good fit. But our customers are very happy, and they know that we're building something. It's really an asset to have a website that works for you and brings in those leads.
Yeah, that's so true. And and for those of you out there that are looking to get into these things, I encourage you to shop around. Go and look at some of these different agencies and see what they're doing and see which one fits best for you, because every agency is not built for every company. You're going to be able to find agencies that are niche down into services. For example, Donnie and I do a lot of work in construction. We do a lot of work with medical groups. We do a lot of work with businesses that are, high ticket. So those are the businesses that we like to work with, but there are plenty of marketing services out there for, startups and for, brick and mortar businesses. Mm-hmm. Maybe you are an e-commerce shop and you're looking to launch your business. There are plenty of, SEO agencies for e-commerce. And really it's a matter of making sure that it's the right fit for your business. And we really want to look into that first. That's how we start out.
And everybody's invested money into something for their business that hasn't gone well. So we understand, and we know as well as anybody, putting money into your business is a scary thing. You got to know exactly where you want to spend it. But you can hire a salesman to do lead prospecting. I mean, we have had clients that have tried all kinds of things and they're pulling their hair out. Like they go on Angie's List and buy leads for something, and those people are just giving them random numbers and they get burned. So, it is very important to be diligent and to do your homework and decide what you want to do. But Anthony and I, our demographic here of our customers being the service industries and construction and home jobs, and a lot of folks in this industry don't really necessarily see the value until they've seen it work for them. So, being able to give that message to our customers, that it's empowering, that your website can work for you, it can bring in leads for you, it can bring in money for you. If a money thing, it's hard to justify spending on marketing. One job could pay for your entire year of marketing in a big ticket service like this. So it really does. You got to look at it like an asset, like anything. I mean, so many people, it's like, I'm spending it, I hope to get money back, but I don't know. It's just sort of a loss. But again, we don't just focus on advertising as our only thing, because that is so
costly.
Well, it's costly, and then it goes away. You only run ads for so long. But when you're building your website structure and you're building something with lots of content where people are going to have their questions answered, you're getting into territory where you are really building an asset that is going to add value to your company, when you go to sell it someday, or when you are looking to evaluate it. You're building something where no matter what, you at least have this resource and this lead generation tool at your disposal.
Yeah, 100%. So let's recap some of those great strategies, going into the business. So we have on-page, off-page SEO. We have the link building strategies. There's local SEO. And those are some of those main strategies. There's also technical SEO. We talked a little bit about that. And there are also some emerging SEO trends. So one of the things that I wanted to mention is, as we know, Google's always changing their algorithms and updating. To keep up with AI, Google is in labs mode with this new perspective search. So Google's perspective is going to use AI to search for relevant content and pull that up to the top of the search listings, whether it's through short form videos like TikToks, Reels, and they just released this at Google's I/O conference. So I would encourage everybody to research this, look a little bit into it. So some of those trends that we see are content, short form content is huge within SEO, answering questions that have an expertise perspective. And with Google's algorithm, I know Donnie mentioned EAT, they added extra E, so it's EAT, and that's the expertise and the experience. How do you keep up with your business, becoming a thought leader, and how do you show that you have experience? How do you show that you have the expertise? How do you build your website's authority, and then how do you establish trust with your business? And those are the core values of SEO. And we could definitely sit here and talk about SEO a lot, but I think
it all goes in together too with the big word in our company's name, branding, right? GW Branding Group. Why do we say branding and then all we talk about is SEO and websites and other digital marketing? It's because your brand is something where it represents your brand, it represents your company, and it gives you the opportunity to craft a narrative about yourself and say, we stand for these values, we work in these industries, and we want to be your friend and your company that works with you. And again, that any lead that comes in, they're going to have a first interaction with you, whether it's your social media or your Google Business Profile or your website, or even just seeing your shop on the street or something.
Yeah.
Their first interaction with you, you want to have that brand continuity where no matter when they interact with you, they have the same experience. Whatever you want to put forward, your values, your friendly, customer service, whatever it is. Having that brand continuity means it doesn't matter where they find you, right? They're always going to have the same experience, and they're going to have this positive experience. At least that's what we work to make it, a positive experience that wants them, it makes you want to do business with them.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly why we're in business. And, just let's review some of the different options people have when it comes to SEO. I think that everyone knows there's 3 options. You can either do it yourself and, spend the time to get it done and spend the time on the research to make sure you know what you're doing. You could hire an in-house person who can work for your business, whether they're full-time, part-time, or you can hire an outside agency. And, there's benefits and downfalls to all of them, but I want to go over those and talk about, well, what stage are you at in your business? If you're a startup, maybe you might have to save money and spend the time by learning it and implementing it yourself. If you're a large organization, then maybe you want to go hire an outside expert. Or even if you're somewhere in the middle and you're on the verge of saying, do I need to hire an employee for this, or do I need to go to an agency? There are many benefits and not as many benefits when it comes to these different things. I think typically what we see as an agency is we're coming into your business as an expert, and we're not going to waste time. You're not going to have to take the risk of spending time with HR, onboarding employees, paying for employee benefits, and then taking the risk to say, okay, are they getting the job done? And if you're trying to scale an in-house team, then that might be what you need to do, right?
In my opinion, that middle option of hiring somebody, unless you are committed to hiring a great team, and that's a huge part of your business, that middle option is almost the wrong fit for everyone. Because either you have enough time to, Anthony and I aren't trying to gatekeep this industry from anybody, because it's not rocket science. I always say, but it is something that it takes a lot of time and effort to stay up with the relevant, different Google's criteria and what websites are looking like now, and the design elements and everything. So there are a lot of things to focus on. And if you have no money and you're a startup, we totally understand. And that's where we've been with everything. Anybody who started a business knows you got to wear a lot of hats. You got to learn a lot of things. And maybe you're not a master at everything, but you're doing enough to get by. But if you really want to invest in something for your business, and you have a thriving business that just needs a digital presence and that just needs to increase traffic to their website, Anthony and I are like the best of both worlds. With our agency, we come in and it's like you're hiring somebody, but you don't need to pay a full salary, and you're getting a team of people that are dedicated to making your website everything that it can be.
Yeah, definitely. And and that's our main focus as an agency, is increasing your revenue, generating qualified leads for your business, and partnering with you to help scale your business and grow your business. At the end of the day, we're not here to just do the job. We like to build the relationships. We're community based. We're local here in the Chicagoland area, and that's something that has been huge for our businesses, supporting our local communities and just being the education that people need. There's a lot of misconceptions, and I think it's, like I said before, our ethical duty to make sure that people know that these options exist and make sure that they get the best option for their business. We don't want to see people lose money. We don't want to see people have to shut their business down. So I like to say that we're a build to scale agency. We can meet you wherever your business is at and help you grow and scale from there.
Yeah, and we don't want anything that we do to be some sort of mystery, like, oh, I don't know what they're doing, but it's working, so we'll at least keep paying them. We want to be upfront about things. We do a lot of customer education with our clients. We are upfront, and we'll talk your ear off. This podcast might be a little boring for some people because we've gotten into some of the technical elements of SEO, but really we're scraping the surface. We want to take pains to make sure that our customers know what we're doing and why, because we don't want to waste their time or their money, or do anything that's just fluff. We're gonna always make sure that you know what you're doing, or where your money's going, and why we're doing certain things. I mean, Anthony and I has already hit on this a couple times, but no two plans are the same for getting your digital footprint out there, and we're gonna go over some of the options and what our strategy, what's the best way to get to where you're going. How are we going to generate the fastest?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for tuning in to Off the Ground Podcast. You can find us on www.gwbrandinggroup.com. You can also follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, and we are always looking for new guests. So if you'd like to come on, go ahead and go to gwbrandinggroup.com, search for our podcast, and submit a guest form, and we'd love to have you on the show. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everyone.